I recently did an interview with Wealth for the Culture podcast, and in that interview, we broke down my entire journey from start to where I am now, and we also went over the black experience surrounding finance. Episode 5, I'll link it in the description, and I'll also link Wealth for the Culture in the description as well for you to go check that out. He has a YouTube channel and he also has a podcast. You can find it on Spotify and Apple. So make sure you go check him out, subscribe to his channel, and let him know that Q sent you. The host who interviewed me, he told me verbatim that I'm top 5 most transparent out of all the content he's come across. And that makes sense. That makes sense to me because I pride myself on being transparent. So in this video, I'm going to be even more transparent. From 2016 to now, my income has increased by $47,000. 2016, I was making 18K. I'm now making $65,000, which is the most money I've ever made in my life. And it's also a goal of mine that I had set for the year that I crushed. So stay tuned. We're going to go into detail, step by step by step by step. Everything I did in order to get to where I am now and my plans for the future. What's good, YouTube? I go by the name of Q. If you're unfamiliar, if you are familiar, shout out to you. Welcome back to the channel. 2016, I was making $18,000 working at a car dealership, working in a car wash. $18,000, and that's no money when you have rent to pay, when you got other obligations and responsibilities, and especially when you're trying to pay off debt like I was. I knew I needed to make more money, so that's exactly what I did. I hopped on Indeed.com. I started searching. I didn't care what the job was. I just searched for a specific amount of money that I want. I think I put like $15 an hour, something like that. Something like that. And literally within a week, I landed a job at a rec center. It yielded an extra $12,000 for the year. It was a part-time job, so that worked fine with me. I didn't really care too much. 18K plus 12K, that gave me $30,000. That $12,000 increase was huge for me, and I didn't stop there. I was still super aggressive, looking for ways to make more money, just searching and looking and thinking of ideas while at work. So between the car dealership and the rec center, one thing that spawned with me, the fact that I was working in a car dealership. Okay, I'm washing cars anyway. A customer brought it to my attention, and I made a video about this in the past, but I literally started a mobile detailing business. I started a mobile detailing business while working at the car wash, while working at the rec center, and I bought all the equipment that I needed. I made some business cards and I got straight to it. I started putting ads on Craigslist. I started doing word of mouth marketing, letting everybody know like, hey, I detail cars. If y'all need y'all car detail, I'm your guy. I did that. That brought in a couple $1,000s. It brought in a couple $1,000s based on the time that I had to do X amount of jobs. So that was another probably $2,000, a little over $2,000. So I went from 18K to 32K within that 1 year span. That 1 year span. And I didn't stop there. The supervisor I worked for, older gentleman, Joe, if you're watching this video, I love you, man. I appreciate everything you've done for me. He was retiring. He literally was retiring. He said this is his last year and he's leaving. So when he said that, what popped in my head is like, okay, you're over me. You're my supervisor, and I have the most seniority out of everybody in this car wash. I had literally 6 years at the job at that point. So the first thing that popped in my head is like, okay, if Joe's leaving and I'm next in line, I'm going to inquire for that supervisor position because I know that comes with a pay increase. That's exactly what I did. I inquired about the supervisor position and I got it. That ultimately gave me a $2 raise. A $2 raise. So that put me from $15 an hour working in the car wash to now making $17 an hour. And for quick math's sake, that's an extra $80 per week. $80 per week, 4 weeks in a month, an extra $320 a month. And for the year, that's an extra $3,600. So from 18K to 12K at the rec center, to 2,000 from the mobile detailing business, plus the raise, we'll sprinkle a little bit of overtime in there because your boy did do some overtime. That put me right around $37,000 within a year and a half span. Clearly, it didn't stop there. So your boy is not a slouch. I've never been a slouch. My work ethic is insane. I always say, if I work for you, I'm going to be the best employee you got because that's all I know. That's all I know. I put my best foot forward no matter what. And in most cases, I do know that if you perform, it'll reflect your pay grade to a degree, right? To a degree until you realize that juice ain't always worth the squeeze. But I just do what I do no matter what. And then it is what it is at that point. So over the 2 years I was at the rec center, and we're fast forwarding a little bit. Over the 2 years I was at the rec center, I got a couple pay increases. One by $1, the other by a quarter. So that's pretty good based on statistics. So $1.25 raise in a 2 year span, only working part time. So keep that in mind as well. Now this is where it got really crazy at. I had the nerve to pick up a third job. A third job. I know people can barely work two jobs, but I was working at the car dealership. I was also working at the rec center, and then I picked up a job at Menards. Menards is a hardware store for those who don't know. It's here in Chicago. I'm sure they're in other states as well, but I was working at the dealership, the rec center, and Menards. And Menards, they paid $13 an hour, right? $13 an hour, another part-time job. So that yielded another $12,000 to $13,000 plus overtime, etc. So we'll do some rough estimates. From $37,000 to now picking up the other part-time job at Menards, that put me right at $49,000. Now working three jobs is not sustainable at all. I'm well aware that I'm not a mule and I need my rest just like the next man. I've always kept that in mind, and I told myself working these labor intensive jobs is not good for nobody. Labor intensive work is just, it puts that wear and tear on your body, and you can only do that for so long. So let's rewind a little bit from 2016 to let's say about 2018 to 20 going into 2019. From then, I've been applying elsewhere consistently. I've always been applying, looking for higher paying jobs that could potentially pay more than all of my other jobs combined. Going into 2019, that's when I started getting phone calls, and I knew, okay, this one job, if I land this one that pays way more than what I'm getting at this one, I can drop those and just focus on that one, get some more of my time back, get some more of my health back. I went on a couple interviews over the years, and it just didn't line up. For whatever reason, they just had some stuff going on that I really didn't agree with, and then the other ones, whatever I had going on as far as my resume, it just didn't line up, and it is what it is. But back to transparency. And something that I always say on this channel is resourcefulness, right? We've heard this term, it's not what you know, it's who you know. The job that I have currently was based on a good word. Based on a good word from my girlfriend's uncle. Now, not saying that I couldn't have gotten the job on my own merit based off my resume and what I did in the interview, but him putting a good word in, that pretty much gave me that extra leverage that I needed, because I could have went on an interview and just put my foot in my mouth and had them reject me. But of course, I had his referral. I went in, did my thing on an interview, and landed the job that I currently have at the railroad. The starting pay at the railroad was $65,000, which is where I am currently. And like I said, this is the most money I've ever made. I'm grateful, but I'm not stopping here. All the things I've been doing from 2016, I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to do that. I've been at the railroad for a year now. Solid job. It's unionized. It has all the benefits you can think of, and they have a great starting salary, which is dope. I'm grateful for that, but I'm not content. I'm not content, especially now, because at the end of the day, my goals are bigger than the salary that I currently have. So the key takeaway that I get from it, or that I want you to get from it, is just to be resourceful and proactive at the same time. There's another saying that I heard. I don't know who said it, but when I heard it, I was like, facts. Big facts. The best time to find a job is when you currently have a job. That blew my top when I heard that. I'm like, oh my God, who comes up with this stuff? Like, I love these type of sayings. The best time to find a job is when you have a job. So even if you don't want to have a job, like right now, I have a job, but I'm building I'm building things outside of my job. Being proactive, that'll save me from any potential financial hardship I may face in the future. And in my personal opinion, I think that's the best way to go about it. I really think that's the best way to go about it, because you don't want to be resentful towards your employer for laying you off. You don't want to be resentful towards your employer for firing you, because business is business. It's not personal. They don't need a bottleneck in their situation. You being that bottleneck, they need to keep revenue generating. They need to have income the same way you do. So take the feelings out of it, Business is business. Personal is personal. Always keep that in mind. Let me know in the comments if this video helped you. Like it if you like it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Also follow me on Instagram. I post every single day over there. So I'm bouncing back and forth from IG to YouTube just to spread the message on a larger scale. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I go by the name of Q. And like I always say, if Q can make it happen, you can make it happen. I'll holler at y'all next video. Peace.